this past week, this past Wednesday to be exact, celebrated its 25th anniversary, and that is, of course, SpongeBob SquarePants. And seeing as how we just had the 25th anniversary, I figure might as well go ahead and do a quick rundown of my top 10 favorite SpongeBob SquarePants episodes. These are my top 10 favorite SpongeBob SquarePants episodes. I'm going to run through these pretty quickly. So let's go ahead and get right to it. Let's start off with number 10. The first episode, of course, Help Wanted, in which an eccentric sea sponge named SpongeBob SquarePants attempts to get a job at a local fast food restaurant called the Krusty Krab. With the encouragement from his best friend Patrick, Mr. Krabs, the owner of the restaurant, considers SpongeBob unqualified for the job and sends him on a fool's errand to get a special mechanical spatula. Later, crowds of ravenous anchovies stop by the Krusty Krab and demand to be fed. SpongeBob somehow finds the spatula and utilizes it to fulfill the anchovies' hunger, and is welcomed as the new fry cook of the Krusty Krab. And as far as pilots goes, might be the overall best pilot they've done up to that point, showcasing the vibrant animation, some really nice looking shots in general. The same with SpongeBob's flying over the anchovies is great to see. The incorporation of songs like Tiny Tim's Living in the Sunlight, just pitch perfect. The laughs are definitely there. It's a really good episode, not really establishing an origin, and it's just a ton of fun to watch in general. Moving on to number 9, Sail 'Em Out. SpongeBob and Patrick discover a bad world in a dumpster behind the Krusty Krab, which Patrick says is a sentence enhancer used for people to look fancy, which it's definitely a sentence enhancer, and I wouldn't say it's used by people to look fancy. It's used by people to get them to really listen to what you have to say, but I digress. They begin using it more often, but then when they yell in front of an entire Krusty Krab, Mr. Krabs confronts them and warns them to never use it again. The next day, SpongeBob and Patrick play a game. SpongeBob lets the word slip. Patrick goes to tell on him, but he also says the word too, and they tell on each other, and Mr. Krabs basically gets ready to punish them by also doing all 13 bad words. And they go to his mother's house and basically say the same thing, and they all end up having to paint the home of his mother in punishment. It's funny because the Rugrats did a similar story like this, and it was pretty intense on how they didn't play it safe in that one, but this really does take the cake. It's a pretty intense and hilarious satirical jabbing of, saying these words in public, these bad words. And it leads to some of the best writing of the show, story-wise and humor-wise. And somebody please go and find that uncensored version that's apparently out there, because I think we all want to see that. Number 8, The Best Day Ever. SpongeBob wants to have the best day ever. He keeps a list of pastimes, including working at the Krusty Krab, jellyfishing, karate, and watching Squidward perform. However, numerous problems occur preventing him from doing that. And it's basically making an episode based off the SpongeBob SquarePants movie song. It's a tough thing to do, but I'll be damned if this one doesn't pull it off and makes a very fun, well-done episode with it. Number 7, SpongeBob SquarePants versus the Big One. A giant tidal wave hits Bikini Bottom and takes SpongeBob to a distant island. It's a bizarrely hilarious episode, made possible by Johnny Depp's best performance I've seen from him in a long time. I mean, he is just so fun in this, so fun, hilarious, over the top. While not even being over the top, he's just laid back, cool, and it's really a rare performance from him that I think just works on so many levels. Add some great animation, a good storyline, some nice visual flair, and you get probably one of the most overlooked SpongeBob episodes that definitely deserves a lot more attention. Number 6, we have The Sponge Who Could Fly. While at the jellyfish field, SpongeBob realizes that he wants to fly among the jellyfish. He proceeds to come up with numerous ways to fly. While at home, his hairdryer inflates his trousers, giving him the ability to fly. Goes around helping people, earning their admiration and becoming a superhero of sorts, until he wants to do stuff on his own, and then they immediately turn against him, which that's what you have to do in this one, I guess. Advertised as the lost episode, I think this is another one of those episodes that gets overlooked, but it's a really solid episode. Great music all around. It's a really good musical episode, too. The songs are nicely done. The animation is great. The humor is funny. I mean, what more can you ask for? Number 5, Christmas Who, the first of many Christmas SpongeBob specials. This Christmas special is narrated by Patchy the Pirate, where we get our first introduction to him and Poddy, the parrot, the president of the fictional SpongeBob SquarePants fan club. And in the episode, Sandy tells SpongeBob about Christmas traditions, and then relays the events to everybody in Bikini Bottom with the hope that Santa Claus will be arriving there on Christmas Day. And it's a great, well-written episode and a really good embodiment of the holiday spirit in general. A classic special I usually have to turn on every single year. Number 4, Atlantis Squarepants. SpongeBob and his friends visit Atlantis. Several attractions at Atlantis have charm to each of the group, including Sandy, Mr. Krabs, and Squidward. However, after popping the oldest bubble, they are chased by the guards. Plankton appears and is adored by the king, who makes Plankton as the replacement edition of the bubble. SpongeBob and the gang return to Bikini Bottom. Again, vibrant, colorful animation all around. Some of the best they had done up to that point. And a great guest spot by the late David Bowie that's often overlooked, but still one of the better extended episodes they've done. Number 3, Chocolate with Nuts. After accidentally getting Squidward's Fancy Living Digest magazine in the mail, SpongeBob and Patrick want to live as fancy as he does. So they decide to sell chocolate bars door to door and everyone in Bikini Bottom. The chocolate bars become a success after they start lying, claiming that the chocolate saves lives. And I mean, one word I think really describes this episode in particular.
Chocolate! 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 Chocolate!
Nor do I really need to go into the number 2 episode out here, Band Geeks. Squidward recruits the citizens of Bikini Bottom to play in a marching band for the Bubble Bowl in an attempt to impress his rival, Squilliam Fancyson. Even though it was a disaster for SpongeBob finally convinces the other band members to go through with the performance and for Squidward's sake. He takes command of their training. At the day of the performance, the band arrives to play spectacularly, which is shocks Squilliam. He experiences a state of shocks at face, leaving Squidward to celebrate as he leaps into the air. And again, there's not really much more you can say about this episode that hasn't already been said. It's freaking fantastic, just from a story perspective, a humor perspective, but the ending alone is just one of the most incredible performances you'll ever see. I mean, it's hard not to start singing along with the song. It's probably the most epic thing you could imagine. And it just leaves you with such a lasting impact that resonates with you as you grow and grow. It's just pure brilliance. And the fact that they were going to do this at the Super Bowl that one year, and then they decided, we're not going to do it the way that we think you want to see it. No, we're going to do it where SpongeBob just shows up at the beginning, and then that's it. And then this past Super Bowl, when they finally got to do it, that was what we needed. We needed that in our lifetime. Which brings us to the my number one favorite SpongeBob episode of all time, and that is It's a SpongeBob Christmas. It's a stop-motion episode where Plankton turns everybody in Bikini Bottom from nice to naughty by feeding them his special Jerktonium-laced fruitcakes, transforming them into jerks in his attempt to get his Christmas wish, the Krabby Patty secret formula. However, when it's revealed that the only victim capable of surviving the mineral is SpongeBob because of his massive love for the holidays, SpongeBob must save the rest of Bikini Bottom from getting coal for Christmas. They had been in a creative lull for several years up to this point, but this stop-motion special, produced in the same style the Rake and Bash specials, comes around and it's just very funny, brilliantly animated, and overall enjoyable. It's like, the plot seems very reminiscent of what SpongeBob used to be. Like, it's a funny special, a brilliantly animated special. It seems like the people behind it remember what was great about SpongeBob and what we were able to bring to it, and it's a great Christmas tradition. It's one of those ones that I have to watch every single year. It's one of my favorite, more recent Christmas specials. I can't recommend this one enough. It's a SpongeBob Christmas, my favorite episode of SpongeBob SquarePants, bar none. And there's a lot of others I could mention too, but those are my top 10 that I always go back to